What is up, everybody? I've got my picks for Moicano versus Duncan UFC Fight Night in the Apex. Gonna be a quick one, not a great card overall, so we're gonna make a lot of these picks really quick, and I'll take a little bit longer on some of the fights I'm more interested in. I think that are more meaningful. But yeah, let's hop right into it. Starting from the bottom, we have Dakota Cope versus Kai Kamaka. Interesting fight here. Dakota Hope, it's his UFC debut. Kai Kamaka been away for a while, but he's back now. I'm riding with the underdog here, Dakota Hope. He's fighting at a four ounce fight club down in Houston with like Joshua Van, Michael Aswell. I asked Michael Aswell. I said, "Yo, Mike, is Dakota Hope, is he legit?" He replied to me, he said, "Yeah, man, he's nasty. Finally getting his shot." So I got faith in him to get this one done. A little bit more of a wrestler than a lot of these other guys at 4 ounce, but all the same, a good fighter. So I'm going to be picking him, and I think he's a solid underdog here. I think he's probably like plus 150. So not a horrible bet, I don't think, but a little bit risky. You know, it's his debut, so it should be interesting. But I like him, so we're going to be riding with him here. Moving on to the women's flyweight second fight in the card, we have Dion Barboza versus Melissa Gatto. We are riding with Dion Barboza. Dude, don't care about this fight, to be honest with you. She's just going to be the pick here. Don't bet on this shit. It's slop. Ignore it. I mean, it just is what it is. Azamat Bakoyev getting back in here after his last loss. He's fighting Trayshawn Gore in this one. He just fought in his previous fight, Yuri Belgarui, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. He was up in like Canada or something. I can't remember exactly when. But tough loss there. I think he went in that fight as a favorite. He's a giant favorite again, minus 600. But, you know, we're seeing that Yuri is very good. Just had a really good win against Mansour Abdul Malik. So I don't have beliefs that Azamat's terrible by any means, and Trayshawn Gore is not very good. He's almost a 500 fighter in the UFC, 6-4. I don't know if that's accurate, actually, now that I'm being honest with you. But with that being said, Azamat Bakoyev by TKO round 2. That's going to be the pick. Pretty confident in that, actually. You know, he's a minus 600 favorite, but he's going to be the pick here by TKO round 2. Interesting fight here. Actually, we'll talk about this one for a second. Elise Pereira, coming off a loss, getting back in here against Haley Cowan. Someone who's been training a lot with Sean Strickland. You guys know my favorite, Sean Strickland. Haley Cowan, she's an underdog in this one. I'm picking her. I think she'll be able to implement her game plan. I think she's gonna heavy wrestling approach, a lot of pressure. I think it'll cause a lot of problems for Elise Pereira. Yeah, I think she's gonna get in her face and constantly pressure her, and really give her some problems in here. I have Haley Cowan winning by decision in this one. Next up, we have Lando Venata versus Darius Flowers. Kind of another slot fight, both coming off a loss. I'm riding with Lando Veneta. Lighter man skill, should get a win here. Decision, like I said, it's a slop fight. There's a lot of those on this card. Alessandro Costa versus Stuart Nickel. This is an interesting one, right? So Alessandro Costa, I think he's solid. However, he's like a minus 500 favorite in this fight, and like he should win, yes, but at the same time, he has a lot of losses, man. He can drop fights really easily. I would really advise against parlaying him in this fight. I just don't think it's worth it. With that being said, I have him winning. I have him winning by an early finish. I see it being possible where he does not win. You know what I mean? I think we get a tricky win from Stuart Nickel, but I don't see it. But I'm just saying it's possible. I would avoid parlaying him in this fight here. Especially with him at those odds, I think it's a little bit outrageous. We got Pat versus Thomas Peterson. This is an interesting one. I have Pat just absolutely walking through him. I think he's more skilled, better everywhere. He's, physically giant, right? 6'6", 81-inch reach. Should just piece up Thomas Peterson. I don't really see this being competitive, to be honest with you. I got Pat round 1 finish, TKO most likely. Thomas Peterson just finished his last one brutally by Vitor Petrino, who I don't think is that great, to be honest with you. And I think Pat is gonna finish Thomas Peterson first or second round in this fight. That's the prediction there. Moving up to the main card, we have Jose Delano versus Robert Rishala. Jose Delano in his UFC debut. We're riding with Jose Delano by decision. I think he'll drag this fight out. I think it'll be competitive, relatively, maybe. But all the same, I've got Jose Delano by decision. Not too interesting of a fight. This one, not too interesting of a fight either, I don't think. But at the same time, we've got Tommy Guns getting back in there. Giant favorite. He's like minus 1,100 or something. Crazy. I guess deserved. I think he's very good. And I think he'll get a win here. I'm looking forward to him. He's very entertaining to watch. Yeah, such a fun fight to watch in Dana White Contender Series. If you haven't watched that, go back and do that right now because it was a sick fight. Really weathered the storm and got a win. Tommy McMillan, first or second round finish, submission or TKO. I think it'll be his choice per se. He can really do it anywhere. A lot of submissions on his record, which I really like to see. So yeah, I got him TKO on my sheet, but could easily be a submission. Would not be surprised by any means. Just kind of depends where the fight goes and how it goes. This is probably the second most interesting fight in the card right here, man. You know, Ethan Ewing, really big upset in his last fight, and I don't remember seeing many other people going to that fight, you know, giving Ethan Ewing much of a chance. I put out a tweet right before that fight. I'm like, yo guys, because I went back and watched some of Ethan Ewing's fights outside of the UFC beforehand. I'm like, yo, this guy's got some pretty decent hands. And I didn't end up picking him. I thought Malcolm Wellmaker was good enough to beat him. And I think Malcolm Wellmaker still is very good, but just shows how good Ethan Ewing is. Though, with that being said, he's got a really tough fight here. He's a favorite in this fight. This is a really tough fight. He's going against someone who's 14-0, undefeated, and really could be a tricky fight for him. The one thing I will say is Estevan's former 125er. So I guess a bit of an advantage there maybe. But that being said, heavy grappling from Rafael Estevan. He's had like 10 minutes of control time in his past two fights. So hopefully Ewing can avoid getting taken down, and if he does, get back up. I am tentatively riding with Ethan Ewing by decision. This is going to be a really tough fight to pick just based on styles. Like, you know, I guess... Yeah, it's really just all depends on Ethan Ewing's ability to defend takedowns and get up from the ground. But I think there's gonna be levels on the feet for Ewing, and I think there'll be levels on the ground for in the grappling for Rafael Estevan. But Ethan Ewing will be the pick. It's like 60-40 confidence here. I really hope he wins, 'cause I like him a lot, but it's a tricky fight right here. Moving on though, we have Abdul Rahman Yakyaev versus Brenison Ribeiro. Yakyaev round 1 TKO. I'm pretty sure that's the consensus with everybody. I don't see anyone taking Ribeiro. Don't see it happening. Yeah, Yakyaev round 1 finish. That's the pick, man. Simple as that. In the co-main event, this is a tough one again. Really a 50-50 fight. You know, I picked... It's super tricky. I don't know. I worry about Verna because... In her last fight, I didn't like the way she fought. You know, she got quite a few takedowns and stuff, but she didn't do anything with it. So she was very what's his name? The one Brazilian guy. I forget his name. I'm blanking. How am I forgetting him? I don't know. She just laid on top. Doing 0 damage. And that really worries me. You need to get some damage off if you're controlling the fight. Then you just easily win the round. You know, if you have 4 minutes control time or 3 minutes control time, and you don't land any damage, you lose the round. That's a problem, man. You got to throw something. With all that being said, I am riding with Verna. It's a 50-50 fight. It really is, in my opinion. But I think she's a little more physical. I'm gonna ride with her to win this fight by decision. And the main event. I'm really stoked for this fight. If you know, I love Chris Duncan. I did a video like last week going through my top 10 favorite fighters. Chris Duncan, of course, made the list. I think he was at like 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly. Let me look. To make sure. He came in at 5. He was 5. It is 5 on my top 10 list. So one of my favorite fighters. Really excited he's getting a main event fight finally against Moicano. And this is a tricky fight. Moicano is honestly tough for anyone to deal with. He really is. He can give you a lot of problems. And with that being said, though, I think he's a perfect matchup for Chris Duncan to get a really good win against. Because, one of Chris Duncan's problems, which he's had before, is he's not very fast. He doesn't have super fast hands. So when he went and fought someone in Terrence McKinney, was that his last fight? I think so. He fought Terrence McKinney. He was having problems really early in the fight because Terrence is so much faster than him. And Chris Duncan was lucky enough to be able to kind of tough it out for a bit there. Moicano is good. He's got good striking. He's got very good grappling. Really good control on the ground. And that could be interesting in this fight if he can get like mount or something, or even half guard on Chris Duncan. It could be a bit of a problem here for him to control Chris Duncan. But with that being said, he's not very fast. He's got decent power in his hands, Moicano, but he's not super fast. So that's one thing that Chris Duncan often struggles with. Truthfully, how I see this fight going is I see them scrapping from the get-go. Really a kind of tough first one, both them slugging it out. With maybe the end of the round 1 or round 2, Chris Duncan drops him and submits him. I've got Duncan by submission. I think it's a bit of a sneaky pick here. I think a lot of people have Chris Duncan winning by TKO or Moicano winning by submission. I've got Chris Duncan by submission. I think he really does look for that submission a lot of time when he drops someone. I think he's got power in his hands. Like I said, he doesn't have super fast hands, but he's got power. He's got power in his punches. So I've got him dropping Moicano and submitting him round 1 or round 2. And that's going to be the prediction. Kind of not a great card overall, but there's definitely some fights that I am looking forward to, particularly the main event, the Ethan Ewing fight, Tommy McMillan. What else? Anything else? Haley Cohen, actually, friend of Sean Strickland, so rooting for her. And then Dakota Hope in the opening fight of the card out of 4 ounce. So yeah, stoked to watch fights as always, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, let me know who you got in the main event. Drop a comment, and have a good one, guys.